Okay, so future dentistry lecturers
Are you ready to turn that passion for dentistry ain't teaching?
into your dream career. We're diving deep into acing that interview.
Because landing the job is about more than just knowing your molars from your incisors, right?
It's true. Having those impressive credentials, it's really just the start.
Acing that interview.
It's about showcasing you.
That you have that unique blend of, the clinical expertise.
The teaching prowess.
Yeah,
And
genuine passion.
for shaping the next generation of dental professionals.
Exactly. And we've got your back.
With some really great insider insights, right?
From RoleCatcher's Career and Interview Guides.
Think of it as your personalized playbook, so we're really highlighting.
Not just what they'll ask, but WHY and how to craft those answers.
That will make you unforgettable.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI tools,
They only come in
giving you an edge by tailoring your CV and interview practice.
specifically for this role.
Imagine getting feedback on your answers that's fine-tuned.
To the specific institution and job description.
Talk about a confidence boost.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack that first hurdle.
Nailing those common.
Yet surprisingly tricky interview questions.
Oh, let's start with a classic. Why dentistry?
Seems straightforward, but even seasoned dentists sometimes stumble on this one.
Yeah, what's fascinating here
They're
is
not just asking you about, your career choice.
they're really trying to get a glimpse into your core motivations.
But what was that initial spark?
What?
Was there a defining moment that really, made you realize, this is it?
So it's not enough to just say,
I've always loved teeth.
right, not quite.
You gotta think about, what makes your why.
Unique.
Maybe there was a childhood experience.
That sparked your fascination with oral health.
Or perhaps,
A particular mentor ignited your passion for the field.
sharing that personal connection.
That's what's going to make your answer memorable.
Yeah, it's about
The
showcasing.
genuine enthusiasm.
That will resonate with both students and colleagues, right?
Exactly. And you can bet
They're going to have follow-up questions.
to probe a little deeper.
For example, they might ask,
What aspect of dentistry excites you the most right now?
this is your chance to really connect your passion to,
Current advancements in the field, what's new and exciting,
and we're staying updated.
on all the latest research and innovations.
Really comes in handy, right?
And speaking of teaching,
There's bound to be a question about your experience.
in that realm,
Something like, what experience do you have?
teaching dentistry courses.
Now this,
This is where you really want to showcase.
those teaching chops. But
Remember, it's not just about listing off all the courses you've taught
it's about highlighting the impact you've had.
on your students' learning. How have you made a difference?
So instead of just saying,
I've taught dental anatomy for 5 years.
you'd want to say something like,
Right. Bring it to life.
yeah, with a specific example. During my time teaching dental anatomy,
I actually developed a new hands-on lab activity,
using 3D printed models
which led to a 15% improvement in students' understanding.
of complex anatomical structures.
Whoa, now that's impressive.
It shows you're not just going through the motions.
But you're actively seeking ways to improve your teaching and student outcomes.
And this ties back to how RoleCatcher's AI can really be.
A game changer.
Absolutely, because their platform
Analyzes, hundreds of dentistry lecturer job descriptions
to really identify those key skills.
that employers value most.
So when you're crafting those answers, or even your CV,
You can really focus on highlighting those sought-after skills and experiences.
it's like having a personalized
Career coach.
right in your pocket, isn't it?
Speaking of which,
Let's tackle another common question.
how do you ensure all students have an equal learning experience?
This one's huge.
Because it speaks to your understanding of inclusivity.
And creating a welcoming learning environment for everyone. It's crucial to demonstrate that you're not just,
Talking about inclusivity
but you're actually living it.
in your teaching, right?
Think about specific strategies you've used to really
Address diverse learning styles, backgrounds, and,
potential barriers to learning, because those definitely exist.
For instance,
Instead of just saying,
I believe in creating an inclusive classroom.
you'd want to say
Right.
something like, to ensure an inclusive learning environment, I incorporate a variety of teaching methods
Like incorporating visual aids, interactive quizzes,
and small group discussions
to cater to different learning styles.
and make sure everybody has a chance to thrive.
And remember,
Interviewers often have follow-up questions.
to gauge the depth of your commitment,
They might ask,
can you provide an example of a time you adapted your teaching?
to meet the needs of a student with a disability,
This is where you can really showcase
your ability to think on your feet.
and provide concrete example.
Of your inclusive teaching practices.
Yeah, it's about demonstrating that inclusivity isn't just
A buzzword for you?
it's a core value that you actively put into practice.
It's really about, walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Now, host speaker. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit.
To a question that's, all about
Your tech savviness.
how do you incorporate technology into your teaching?
The digital age.
No more dusty chalkboards, right?
Interviewers really want to know that you can,
Leverage technology to enhance that learning experience.
Exactly, and think beyond.
Just, your basic PowerPoint presentations.
Have you used, online simulations?
To bring dental procedures to life.
Interactive quizzes for that instant feedback?
Oh, even, virtual reality.
For immersive learning experiences. Those are cool.
Precisely, right? And be prepared to discuss.
Not just, what you've used.
But how it's benefited your students,
Did a particular technology lead to, higher engagement?
Or
Deeper understanding. Can you quantify those results?
whatever possible.
So instead of just saying,
Oh, yeah, I've used digital smile design software.
you might say,
Right, give them some numbers, right?
incorporating digital smile design software into my curriculum
Allowed students to visualize treatment outcomes,
and improve their communication skills with patients.
leading to a 10% increase.
In their case, presentation scores.
Ooh, now
That's how you demonstrate the impact, right?
And speaking of impact, let's talk about assessment.
That dreaded but very essential part of education
A common question here.
is, how do you assess student learning outcomes in your courses?
And remember,
Assessment, it's not just about giving grades.
it's about really understanding how those students are learning.
And then using that information to refine your teaching.
Yeah, it's about closing that feedback loop, right?
So what are some ways to demonstrate, a thoughtful approach to assessment?
So you want to showcase
A variety of different methods.
beyond,
Traditional exams. Have you incorporated case-based learning projects?
peer evaluations, where they're learning from each other.
Portfolio assessments, things like that?
It's about choosing the right tool for the job
Right.
and being able to articulate your reasoning for that.
Exactly. And be prepared to discuss,
How you actually provide feedback to those students.
both, during the course, that formative feedback
And then at the end of the summative,
to guide their learning
and here's where, RoleCatcher's AI,
can be a huge help
oh, for sure,
because their platform has analyzed
thousands of interview questions and responses so you can actually see
what a strong, tailored answer looks like.
for this very specific question.
Yeah, it's like having,
A sneak peek into the minds of those successful candidates
what worked for them. What were those things?
that interviewers really seem to respond to.
Okay, let's
Dive into another one.
a challenging question. How do you manage conflicts?
Or difficult situations with students.
Ah,
Those inevitable student conflicts, they happen.
but interviewers really want to see that you can handle those situations.
With, professionalism and grace.
So it's about being a diplomat.
As much as an educator, really.
Precisely, right? Think of,
A specific example where you successfully navigated,
a challenging situation with a student.
did you employ,
Active listening skills, mediation techniques.
and most importantly,
What was the outcome?
did you help the student,
Understand a difficult concept. Resolve a
the
conflict.
peer, whatever it may be.
Right, you want to focus on,
Your problem-solving abilities
that commitment.
to creating, a
that
positive...
learning environment. Now, let's tackle a question.
That's really close to my heart, actually.
How do you incorporate diversity and inclusion into your teaching?
It's really about...
Creating a classroom where everyone feels seen, heard.
And valued, right.
This one, it really requires more than just a statement of support for diversity.
Be prepared to share
Concrete examples.
of how you've created a more inclusive learning environment.
So instead of just saying,
I value diversity, which we all do.
you'd want to say,
Right, you want to give them specifics like,
to foster a truly inclusive classroom.
I make a conscious effort to diversify my teaching materials
Incorporating case studies and research.
from a variety of cultural backgrounds.
And different perspectives.
And be prepared,
for those follow-up questions, because
they might ask,
they will.
how would you actually handle a situation?
Where a student expresses,
Biased or offensive views.
in class.
Yeah.
That happens, and you got to be ready.
This is your chance to really showcase,
Your commitment to creating that safe and respectful
learning environment for all students.
It's about,
Being prepared to have those tough conversations.
and really addressing bias head on.
Now let's switch gears and talk about research a little bit.
It's a huge part of being a dentistry lecturer, and they'll definitely want to know.
About your experience in this area.
A common question here is, what are your current research interests?
So this is your chance to
Geek out a little bit, share your passion,
a specific area of dentistry.
and why it really captivates you,
Have you always been, like, fascinated by dental implants?
Or maybe, the latest advancements in regenerative dentistry.
Let your enthusiasm shine through, for sure.
But remember, it's not just about sharing your interests, right?
It's about really demonstrating, like,
Your research acumen.
exactly,
Highlight
any publications, presentations.
for grants you might have received.
And if you're just starting your research journey.
Don't panic, it's all good.
Exactly. Talk about your dissertation research.
Any lab experience you have, or even just your excitement,
About delving deeper into a specific area.
And remember,
RoleCatcher has a wealth of resources.
to help you craft really compelling answers about your research interests and experience.
They even have a feature where,
You can see how other candidates have successfully
answered this question.
elicited valuable insights and inspiration
It's like having a secret weapon
in your interview arsenal.
right in your back pocket.
Now, let's shift gears again, and we're going to talk about
Career progression.
because they want to see that you're thinking long term,
A common question here.
is where do you see yourself in 5 years?
And this isn't about,
Having, a perfectly mapped out, 5-year plan
it's about demonstrating your ambition.
and that commitment to growth.
Okay, so how do you answer this question effectively?
Well, do your research, right?
Look into the typical career trajectory
For dentistry lecturers,
at that specific institution where you're interviewing at.
do they have, a strong mentorship program? Are there opportunities for, leadership roles down the line?
Knowing this information,
Can really help you,
align your aspirations with what they're offering. Exactly.
You might say something like,
In 5 years, I envision myself, leading research projects
mentoring junior faculty
and, potentially taking on a leadership role.
within the department.
So it's about demonstrating that you're not just looking for,
A job
but really a place.
to build a very fulfilling career.
And that's music to an interviewer's ears.
Oh,
They want to hear that.
It really is. So, we've aced, hopefully.
All these questions about your
It was
experience rate.
teaching philosophy, even your tech prowess.
But what about those curveball questions?
The ones that seem to come out of left field, you know what I mean?
Ah, yes, those curveballs.
Can be a little unnerving sometimes, right?
They can.
It's like if you could have dinner with any famous dentist.
Throughout history, who would it be and why?
Oh, or even better,
What's your teaching philosophy summed up?
in a single tooth.
Exactly. These questions,
It's not really about having a right or wrong answer.
it's about,
Seeing how you think on your feet, right?
how you handle a little bit of pressure
And how well you can articulate your thoughts,
when you're put on the spot a bit.
Exactly.
So take a deep breath.
Stay calm and really try to connect that question back to
Your skills and your experience, because you can always do that.
precisely. If they ask about
Your favorite dental instrument.
don't just be like, oh, the scaler, because it's shiny.
Talk about, how it represents precision, attention to
The
detail.
importance of preventative care, right?
Like, these are qualities that you're bringing to your teaching
It's about really showcasing your personality.
and how you think critically, even when,
Faced with something unexpected.
absolutely,
Now let's talk about a question that,
might seem straightforward, but it can reveal a lot about,
your approach. How would you describe your communication style?
oh, this one's all about,
Those interpersonal skills, right?
Yes.
Because as a dentistry lecturer, you're going to be interacting with,
such a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
Right. You've got your students.
You've got your colleagues, you've got administrators.
Right. It's a very
also
social
like-
job. It is. It's
It's like, part educator, part mentor, right?
part ambassador, really, for the
Yes,
field.
Exactly.
When you're describing your communication style,
You really want to highlight those qualities, right?
and foster those positive relationships.
Are you a clear and concise communicator?
Are you an active listener?
Do you create a very supportive...
And approachable environment.
Right. It's about...
Showcasing that ability to really convey complex information.
effectively,
But also building rapport and trust with your audience.
Yeah, and be prepared for
Those behavioral questions,
that really delves into how you handle
specific situations.
Right.
Like, tell me about a time.
you had to give a student constructive criticism.
Oh, yeah, those are always fun.
Right. So these are really about
Demonstrating those conflict resolution and feedback skills that we talked about a bit earlier.
exactly. So you want to think about, again,
Specific example where you
provided feedback in a way that was constructive.
respectful and ultimately,
Help that student improve.
yeah, it's about showing that you can really deliver,
Tough feedback with empathy, right?
and a focus on growth, which I think
is really, really important.
Oh, for sure. And don't forget to highlight
How you've incorporated feedback to become a better educator.
yourself. Right. Because we all need to do that.
It's that lifelong learning process.
Absolutely. It really shows that you're not just teaching.
You're constantly striving to,
Improve your own craft.
100%.
And speaking of improvement, let's circle back.
To RoleCatcher one last time.
How can their, AI-powered platform really help?
Candidates prepare for these sometimes.
Challenging interview questions
Well, think of RoleCatcher.
as like a secret weapon. Right?
In your interview arsenal.
Love that.
Their platform analyzes,
Thousands of interview questions and responses.
specifically for,
Dentistry lecturer role.
providing these valuable insights into
What makes a really strong app?
it's like
A
having
sneak peek into the minds of,
the successful candidates,
Yeah.
what worked for them.
what did interviewers really respond to?
Exactly. And even better,
Their AI-powered feedback tool,
yeah,
it can actually analyze
your practice responses, highlight those areas for improvement.
and then suggest ways to make your answers even stronger. So
Wow.
it's like having a personalized interview coach.
Available 24/7. It's amazing.
That is incredible. It really is like having, that dental assistant by your side, making sure your every word shines, right?
Okay, before we wrap things up,
Any final words of wisdom for,
those aspiring dentistry lecturers.
out there getting ready to go on these interviews?
I would say just believe in yourself,
You've got this, right?
You've clearly got the passion, the drive, the dedication.
To really excel in this role.
Just prepare thoroughly.
Practice your answers. Let your enthusiasm shine through.
I love that.
You're going to do great.
And remember, everyone,
Use all those amazing tools at your disposal, right?
like RoleCatcher's incredible AI platform.
To just boost that confidence and put your best foot forward.
It's your time to shine.
Oh, I love it.
Go out there and ace that interview.
And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive into...
Acing your dentistry lecturer interview.
Remember, you've got the skills. You've got the knowledge.
And with a little preparation, you will be well on your way to inspiring
The next generation of dental professionals.
We believe in you.
We do.